we spoke a bit about how couples can come in with a lot of conflict. But what is the conflict about? And I suppose some of the common ones, and there are many issues with couples, and we only have limited time today, but it's a vast array. It's almost like what you would deal with an individual. But I suppose some of the common ones are money, conflict around money, and conflict around sex, lack of sex even, and how couples deal with that, and also children and how to manage conflicts around children. So let's look at money. And I think money really is about who's got the say. And I think power versus who doesn't have power in a relationship is what is expressed in this. So who can tell the other person what to do and who has to listen? And it's just like communication, because so often it's about you need to listen to me. I'm the person who's got the power. You know, almost a thing where I've got the talking stick and you're going to listen to me. And there are many ways that a couple expresses, and I think even with money, it's about, so I've got the power, I earn the big bucks. But often it's very interesting because the person who maybe doesn't earn as much, or if they earn equally, then there's no real person who's got the power. And how do they then negotiate it? How do they then set up simple things? It's so interesting when you talk to couples, because you'll find couples who don't really know what the other one earns, or what the budget is, or how much the other one spent on X, Y, and Z, and they become huge issues because it's about being a couple versus being an individual. Do we share things? Do we put our mind together as a couple and think about how we want to spend our money? Do we also allow for spaces where we have our individual money? Or is it all in one pot? Or do we know nothing of the other's financial circumstances and then are suddenly horrified to learn that they barely earn what we thought they did earn? These are very important things. But for me, it's all an expression about how to come together as a couple, how to share and open your life up to the other. And we're so individualistic generally. We kind of want to either keep things secret, or we can actually kind of share things, but maybe in quite an aggressive way sometimes. Oh, you want to know all about my money? Well, just look at this. You'll hear. But it's really like if we do it in a considered way, and this is what we try to get couples to be and to think about, if we considered what is a loving way for us to think about money, and if we're together and really together. So I think there are different stages of being a couple. There might be the beginning stages where you're not really a couple as in a partnership, but you're more just a couple, whereas versus when you're living together, that would be a very different set of circumstances because you would be sharing so much more. But it's all about like, what do you retain for yourself and what do you share and how do you share it? So I think there's often reluctance in certain people to really share, to really open up. There's a fear in opening up that they would lose something, or there's a desire to control the other. So for example, in a very typical sort of stereotypical case, maybe the husband is quite rigid about money. He monitors money. And the wife then spends money quite easily. And the husband's always complaining about, oh, you just go to the shops and you buy whatever. And there isn't a sense of a common, this is our money, we share it. Or saying, how do we think about it together? I want to go to the shops. But I need to be cognizant of the fact that we only have X amount that is money that is available to us. And can we talk about that? And can we think about it together? And part of it, thinking about it, may be drawing up a budget, if that works for you. Or it may be just knowing that we have about X amount and each of us has our own little pot as well. But I think it's really about openness, talking together, communicating well about money, and not seeing money as a way of being able to exert power on the other person or over the other person. Or I think it's often also dependence and independence. So individual, couple. So for example, some people actually resent their partners for the money they give them, but they secretly create that dynamic so that the partner will be dependent on them. So they will berate their partner for spending on X, Y, and Z, but they know they earn the bulk of the money, so would then also say, how dare you spend that money? Why do you always go and spend money on X, Y, and Z on such frivolous stuff? But they know that that dependence is actually dependence on them as a person. It makes them feel safe because they need it and the other person cannot survive without them. I'm perhaps saying it very briefly about money, but I think money is just a symptom. It's just an expression of something that's going on between the couple already. And that is what we need to work on in couple therapy, is always, as we do an individual, what's going on under the surface? What is this really an expression of? What is the dynamic? Control versus feeling out of control? Is it about who's dominant or not? And the other things that I've spoken about. I think money always seems like a big thing, but it's really about two people interacting. It's not about money per se. It's about what the couple does with money. What are the fears and anxieties that they both express around money, and how do they defend against those anxieties?